Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Sai Satcharitra, an Insight, Episode 125. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan Brother telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Devotees, in the previous episode, we saw that Sri Sai Maharaj asked a vital question to Hemat Panji, which was, so, you will share when someone is around you. If nobody is with you, what will you do? Then Sri Sai Maharaj himself has answered to this question by asking, am I not always with you? Whenever you are eating alone, do you think of me? Are you giving anything to me? Instead, you are eating your food thinking that none is around you. These pronouncements of Sri Sainath made Hemat Panji to ponder deeply. Sri Sainath posed this decisive question to emphasize the need for having control over the senses. Now let us listen to the instruction of Sri Sai Maharaj. Our five senses, such as sense of sight, smell, feel, taste, and hear, enjoy their sense objects. Eyes helps us to see the images, ears to listen to the sound, tongue to taste the food, nose to smell, and skin to feel. Though in this context, Sri Sainath has emphasized only on the sense of taste by asking Hemat Panji, do you offer your food before you eat, and advises that the food must be offered to him before the senses enjoy them. Devotees, this is not applicable only for the sense of taste, but is pertinent to the other four senses too. Hemat Panji says, the senses can never remain without their objects, but if these objects are first offered to the Guru, the attachment for them will naturally vanish. If a person has no control over the senses and let it run behind objects, then for such a person, the Atmanyana, that is the highest spiritual goal, cannot be attained. This reminds me of Alvar's Thiruvaimozhi Pasuram that says, உண்ணும் சோறு பருகு நீர் தின்னும் வெற்றிலையும் எல்லாம் கண்ணன் எம்பெருமான். Meaning, the food we eat, the water we drink, the betel leaves we consume, everything is Lord Krishna. There is nothing in this world in which he is not. These verses replicate the instruction of Sri Sai Maharaj, which proclaims, before you enjoy the objects through your senses, offer that to me as I am present in everything. By doing so, you can easily attain the goal of life, that is self-realization. In the earlier episodes, we have discussed an analogy quoting from the Bhagavad Gita that our body is the chariot, the five senses are the horses, the reins in the mouth of the horses is the mind, the charioteer is the intellect, and the soul is the passenger residing in the body. The mind must exercise restraint on the senses. When it fails to do so, then it submits to the pull of the mind. In Mahabharata, Lord Krishna is termed as Parthasarathi, as he was the charioteer that drove those several horses. The philosophy behind this is same as the above. While the senses run errant behind the objects, the mind must hold them as that of the reins in the mouth of the horses, and intellect, which is the charioteer, is none other than the Supreme Lord Krishna, with whose help we can have control of it. Hemat Panji says the senses can never remain without their objects. The duty of the eyes is to see. We cannot remain without seeing. Similarly, the ears will hear, nose is meant to smell, and the sense of feeling is attained by touch. So, one cannot stop these activities. It is practically impossible to shun from these, and the sense organs would naturally run behind worldly pleasures. But if the mind would control them with the aid of the intellect, then it is very easy to attain the Supreme Lord, which is the ultimate goal of everyone's life. But practically speaking, it is unfeasible for anyone to control their senses using the mind. In fact, Hemat Panji is certain that it is unrealistic even until the end of this era, which means none can attain self control over their senses as they would run behind the worldly objects. Hence, Sri Sainath is instructing us a way to get hold of our senses. He says, "You first submit your senses to me." How to submit it to Sri Sai Baba? We cannot keep saying that whatever I see is Sri Sai Baba, whatever I hear is Sri Sai Baba. If we follow this method, then it is going to take a long time and it's going to be extremely difficult for us to experience His divine presence. Because, in contrary, actually the mind and the intellect enjoy the objects even before the senses enjoy them. Let me narrate an interesting incident in connection with this. One of my uncles was very mischievous at his younger age. To get him disciplined, he was admitted in a mutt which had very strict rules for the students to follow. Every time, prior to serving the meals, the disciples were made to sit in a row and each one was given a plate on which the food was served. The students were allowed to eat only after chanting their prayers that was meant to be said before eating. All of them would close their eyes and chant the following mantra, following a prayer of gratitude for blessing them with this meal. This was the custom followed in the mutt. The chanting was Arutperum Jodi, Arutperum Jodi, Taniperum Karunai, Arutperum Jodi. While all the others did their prayers, my uncle, the naughty kid, would remain with closed eyes for few seconds, but the food served on the plate would tempt him, so he would first grab a small lentil dumpling from his plate and eat it. Then slowly would try to take from the next person's plate too. So in this case, even before the food is consecrated to the Almighty, the senses are first getting tempted to taste it. This temptation or urge to enjoy the thing is known as the enjoyment of the mind and the intellect. Then, this temptation forces one to pick up and taste the food even before he was permitted to do so. So, even before the tongue tasted the food, it is enjoyed by the mind and intellect as it keeps musing about the taste of the food. This proves that the mind and intellect are a step ahead of the senses in enjoying the object, says Hemat Panji. This must be avoided, but is it feasible? Is the question, for which Hemat Panji has already given his opinion that it is impossible until the end of the Yuga. But the all-merciful Sri Sai Maharaj gives us a very simple suggestion to handle this challenge. He says, first think of me before you enjoy the object. Offer it to me and then relish it. Devotees might ponder what is the difference between enjoying an object or food without offering or thinking of Sai versus relishing it after offering it to Sri Sai Nath. How will this help us in the progress of our spiritual life? Let us listen to the narration of Hemat Panji in this regard. Prior to enjoying an object, if we have to offer it to Sri Sai, then a question arises in our mind if that object is worth enjoying. This is applicable even with food items. For instance, if we have chosen to relish a forbidden food and if we have made it a custom to offer it to Sri Sainath before we enjoy it, then a thought of discrimination develops in our mind and we start to ponder, is this something that I can offer to Sri Sai Maharaj? Isn't this a prohibited food? How can this be served to Sri Sai? When such thoughts crowd up our mind and slowly our interest upon them will vanish. So, ultimately, we will be preventing to consume the forbidden food and we begin to lead a more disciplined life as we get rid of the bad habits. For example, if someone has the habit of smoking cigarettes and if he would follow the practice of offering everything to Sri Sai Maharaj before he takes, then he is even supposed to offer the cigarette before smoking. But all of us are certain that he might not be willing to do so, hence, left with no choice, he would quit the practice of smoking. Similarly, before enjoying any object through the senses, if we offer it to Sri Sainath, then we will get the insight if that object is worth enjoying or not. This will refrain us from enjoying unwanted stuff and we end up consuming only the items that were offered to Sri Sai Maharaj. When we offer anything to Sri Sai Maharaj and then eat, the food gets consecrated and that becomes a prasad. Likewise, whenever we desire for any worldly things or if we get angry at someone or if a sense of pride or jealousy arise in our mind, then if we chose those thoughts to be submitted mentally to Sri Sai Baba, then Lord would calm those thoughts and eventually we can get rid of those vrittis as they will get absorbed in the divine form of Sri Sai and slowly those unwanted qualities will get dissolved in him as our mind will be directed to the lotus feet which will grant peace and divine joy. If we make it a practice to submit every thought of ours to Sri Sai, then every action that we perform will become an offering to Sri Sai Maharaj. Just as the sloka, Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarva Buddhyatmana va Prakrute Swabhavat Karomi Yad Yad Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami, which means whatever I do with the body, speech, mind, or the sense organs, either by discrimination of the intellect or by the deeper feelings of the heart or by the existing tendencies of the mind, I do them all without ownership and I surrender them at the feet of the Supreme Lord. I am certain that now the devotees would have understood the advantage of enjoying the sense pleasures after submitting it to Sri Sai Baba. Sri Sainath Maharaj says, whenever anger, pride or any desire arise strongly, make me the sole object and direct it towards me. By doing so, you can eradicate those emotions from you. This is one of the significant affirmations of Sri Sai Maharaj which has been recorded by Hemat Panji in this chapter under OVs 47 and 48. Though we are engaged in the activities of the materialistic world, we will not cultivate any bondage to those as we submit them to Sri Sainath. This submission will help us to get closer to Sri Sai Maharaj rather than to worldly pleasures. This practice leads to purification of thoughts. Pure knowledge will grow, which will break the bondage of body consciousness, and our mind will be ever engrossed in spirit consciousness. This is considered to be the highest state of yoga, leading to bliss supreme, and the same has been insisted by Sri Sai Maharaj through this Chana Leela. And now I am sure that the devotees might be able to understand the connection this Leela has with Katha Upanishad. As stated in the previous episode, let me recall the commentary of the Katha Upanishad, which says to attain God there are various stages, and one is the acquisition of omniscience. And this meditation gives the practitioner supernatural knowledge as the world, which is normally seen as an external object, enters into himself, and only a guru has to teach personally how this is done. To perform this yoga, the 5 organs of knowledge must be at rest together with the mind. And when the intellect ceases functioning, that they call the highest state. This state is known as bliss supreme. So, as cited in Katha Upanishad, our Sadguru Sri Sainath Maharaj has taught us personally how to attain God, and for which one must submit their 5 senses and rest together with the mind, and when the intellect ceases functioning, that becomes the highest state, which leads to divine joy. Thus, Sri Sai Baba has connected this Leela with the core philosophy of Katha Upanishad. Now let us listen to Katha Upanishad 10th sloka in chapter 2 section 3, which goes thus: Yada panchavatishtante jnanani manasa saha buddhis chana visestati tam ahu paramam gatim. Meaning, 3 conditions are stated to explain what meditation is. They say when the 5 senses stand together with the mind is still and the intellect is also still, which means to say that the senses, the mind and the intellect should come together. That state is yoga, the highest state. And this is feasible only when a person would adopt the methods instructed by Sri Sai Maharaj. So, to sum up, if a person would enjoy the sense objects directly, then such a person will become a slave to them and would always crave only for such pleasures, because of which he can never attain the ultimate goal of his life, that is God realization. At the same time, if he submit the objects to Sri Sai Maharaj and enjoy them, then the person would be able to have control over his sense organs, mind and intellect will also be at peace, which will grant him the necessary wisdom to discriminate if a particular object is worth enjoying or not. Sri Sai Maharaj pronounces that if you practice this consistently, then all your thoughts will rest in the one who is present in you, which is me. Devotees, these affirmations are given by Sri Sai Maharaj, which authenticates a path to a spiritual seeker for God attainment. When I say your mind and intellect will be at peace, let us not mistake it with our sleeping state or state of indolence, because when one is sleepy or lazy, the mind and intellect is not effective to its fullest extent. So, listeners, pay your full attention. Sri Sai Maharaj is not talking about dozing state or lethargic state, but when the body is fully awake and the mind is completely active, then if all the senses are brought to control and the mind and intellect is at peace, then that state of mind is declared as the state of bliss supreme. After discussing the different Vedantic philosophies connected to the incredible Leela of Sri Sai Maharaj, Hemant Panji is continuing to narrate more interesting Leelas which are connected to these truths, and we shall listen to those in the coming episode. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.